Hello and welcome to Design Chat, the best live design discussion on the internet. I'm your host, Ryan McGovern. On Twitter, I'm at Hoobajube and at Design Chat. Every week, we get together with some of the coolest people from the design and creative industries and chat. And we have a one-on-one sort of interaction, and you can too. That's the cool experience about this, is that if you come to the live chats, if you're watching this as a podcast, I'm sorry, you can't really participate in the same way as the live experience. But if you do come to the live experience, you can ask questions. You can ask text questions, or you can actually get on video and have a face-to-face chat with some of the most interesting people in the design community today. How can you pass that up? Seriously, it's a no-brainer. So congratulations on being here, people. You're very smart. And I enjoy talking to you every week. This week, our special guest is Erin Loechner. I hope I'm pronouncing Loechner correctly.
Very
I never
good.
asked you before
Very
that.
good.
Good. All right, Lochner. A design writer who blogs for her own blog, Design for Mankind, and on various other outputs, which we will talk about in the coming chat. Thank you for coming out, Erin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, definitely. We connected some weeks ago. I think it was on Twitter originally, and then we got on sort of some blog talk about how to do that and how ads work and that sort of thing. Because you've been at this for a while. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your history, what you do, and why you do it?
Okay. I started blogging actually totally random, just as a way to sort of kind of unplug from a completely dead end job. I think I started for a lot of the same reasons that other people did. There was kind of a big, huge, um, I guess, surge of bloggers around 2007, some 2006. And we kind of started for the same reasons, I guess, just to get away and catalog all this cool stuff that we were finding. So um, I did not expect it to do anything or go anywhere. It was just really for my own sort of design files. I worked in ad agency and sort of hated it. So really just needed that outlet to look at pretty stuff all day. And that's what I did. So fast forward 3, 4 years, and here we are.
I forgot to mention in the little brief intro today, today's the 25th, right? I always forget the date. Um, Something very interesting happened, and I'm sorry to digress from the conversation about you for a second, but I have to, we were talking about it earlier. I want to make sure it's included in the podcast. Um, Four other live video shows happened earlier today, one after the other, and it was called 5 hours of God. How did I 5 hours of power? I'm really kind of losing. It's not the beer. I've only had a little bit of beer, the pale ale tonight. I swear I'm not drunk. Um, but my mind was blown. Here's what happened. So Fabio Sasso, um, Nick Campbell, Justin Mahler, and James White, all very awesome artists in their own right. Two of which have been doing the regular video broadcasts. All decided let's all do shows on the same day and call it Hours of Power. And it was crazy successful. There have been so many people on watching these shows today. Very inspirational. I was very lucky that I figured out how to watch some of it because usually that content is blocked at my marketing agency. But I figured it out and got to see. I was so bummed I was going to miss any of it. But if you did miss any of it, check those people out. There's a blog post on the front page of designchat.info about it. Search those other guys out. They're doing their own shows too. It's amazing. They're all crazy talented. And it really makes me believe in what we're doing here, Erin. It really makes me believe in the power of connection. It believes me in reaching out to the creative community and the empowerment that you get after you do that. And I'm sure you felt that early on in some of the early success that you had in your blog.
I did, and I'm gonna try and talk super loud here, but it is a really empowering feeling, and I think one of the early moments is when someone other than your mom or your grandmother is actually reading what you have to say, and that's always really cool.
Someone in the chat room just said, I think Design Chat is from Australia. No. I am not from I can't do it. I was about to do a really lame Australian accent, but I won't do that because it's just offensive. Come on, mate. uh, yeah, I gotta agree. When I would imagine you did a little bit of design school or art school, and you got a lot of people patting you on the back during that. Friends are always going to say they like your stuff. Friends, it's hard for them to be critical, but when that feedback comes from outside of your circle, it resonates louder, doesn't it? How early in your experience did that happen for you?
Oh gosh, I have kind of a different story because I'm not an artist or a designer, nor did I go to school for that. So, it, but I was really fortunate in that it happened very soon after. The way the internet works is just, it blows my mind. So, one person posted a picture of a bedroom makeover that I had, and from there it was just, it kind of snowballed into this huge thing, and then everybody that I knew was talking about this blog that just this random girl that lived in LA was writing. So I was lucky. It happened with one big break, and then has sort of steadily grown through there.
Um, you know, we get on this conversation a lot about, do you have to go to design school? Are you only a real designer if you've got your degree? But then there's also so many people who, just naturally have talent and have cultivated that talent through their work. And they grow and they blossom and they do amazing things. Um, and also like the topic of consumption versus creation, right? Um, a lot of us creative people sort of play on both sides of that fence. Um, where does your identity lay with a creative sort of identity, or is it on the communication side? Like where does that sort of sit inside your head? Where do you file that?
You're asking good questions. I I tend to not try and overthink it. I overanalyze everything in my life, and I did actually graduate with a communications major, so I would consider myself first and foremost a writer, and second, kind of a lover of design. I love interior design, art, anything that kind of relates to me or speaks to me in some way. And I kind of was always a creative kid, so um, I guess if I have to measure it, I would be like 60% writer, 40% creative, or something of that sort. I'm not very good at math, so I hope that equaled 100.
I forgot to mention, as I always do, if you're in the chat room and you have or haven't been here before, you can ask questions. And there's a little red button to the side of the chat that says submit a question or something similar. And you can either do that in a text version, which we will accept, and then the text will show up on the screen. Or if you have a webcam, you can, yeah, I did mention this, you can get up on the screen. I want to encourage all you guys to ask questions because the opportunity here to collaborate and discuss with creative people like Erin is huge. So please take advantage of that. I'm seeing some questions pop up. We are going to start taking questions in just a little bit, and we do it throughout most of the chat. So please, please, please ask questions. So let's get into some of the nitty gritty about what your daily life is like. Where are you writing right now? What are your motivations and some of your favorite projects that you have going on?
Wow. Um, that's funny. I'm actually writing from my in law's house in the Midwest. We are renovating this crazy, gross house down the street. So I either write here, in my in-laws office, or I write from the local coffee shop, or sometimes if I'm traveling, it's easy. I can write anywhere I want to. So let's see, favorite projects, what my day looks like. I'm kind of just in and out. I don't allow internet on my phone, so I like to just
Wait,
keep.
wait, wait, wait. Back time out.
I
You
don't.
don't.
I don't.
Why would you do that? What would
I know. I
motivate you to
know.
not allow in? It is all the rage. I don't know if you've heard, but it's the
I know. I
coolest thing
know.
happening right now.
I just think here's the deal. Like if I were
Aaron,
to,
be like
uh,
everyone else.
I can't. I would never speak to my husband or play with my dogs. I would be all internet all the time. So I've got to unplug at some point in my life. I feel like I need to
Hmm.
grow up and grow beyond the internet in some way. So um, yeah, that's just one of my personal rules. So I do carry my laptop around every now and then, but I don't know. I work 5, 6 hours a day. Used to work a lot more, and I'm kind of trying to back off as we renovate. And I think my favorite project that's going on right now is my HGTV column. It's nice to be able to take something that's actually happening in real life and apply that to something that's sort of happening online and invite readers and hear their feedback and collaborate on what they're doing. It's been really good for me, I think.
Let's back up a little bit because I'm always really interested on the story of how you got to where you are because it's a cool trend in what's happening in business today where some people are able to pull away, and we talk about this a lot, able to pull away from the 9 to 5 job and find income in other creative means and to support themselves to do the things that they really want to do. You mentioned a second ago that you worked for an ad agency. I'm really curious about that experience. What was good, and it sounded like you had a lot of bad.
Yeah, it was a boutique agency in Los Angeles, and I think I just don't. It was very small, and it was kind of one of those everybody sort of wears multiple hats, and I was thrown into an art director position, which I was so underqualified for, and it was just a really stressful time. So the progression for me was I ended up working there until um, I could sustain myself with this blogging thing, and that happened simply by right time, right place. I started to sell ads. My readers all wanted to buy ads because they were sort of in the same place of their life where they were starting Etsy shops or they were starting to sell their artwork. So, what better place to advertise than a blog that you like to read too? So, I was really lucky to have a big bulk of advertisers in the beginning that sort of helped me push myself in the right direction. And then I've been kind of staying afloat ever since with my own blog or blogging for other corporations or media outlets. So I've been really really lucky, but it is hard work too.
Yeah, it seems like because we've recently jumped into um, getting some more interesting blog posts on the front of the page, so that there's a constant flow of content and interesting things to participate in. And I gotta agree, I'm having a hard time keeping that going because I'm an art director. If you guys haven't heard this story before, I'm an art director at an agency outside of Chicago. I've worked through tons of agencies throughout the city. It is a crazy job. Our clients are very demanding. Sometimes it can be crazy hours, and when I come home at the end of the day, I'm wiped. I'm completely wiped. So not only is it difficult to try to tap into what's going on with Design Chat during the day, but when I come home, I'm totally wiped out and there's no brain function left. And basically, I sit in a corner and drool, and my wife points at me and makes fun of me, which is a lot of fun. So, with that being said, of all of these, tapping in, you already sort of mentioned that you're able to turn off with your phone, and stay away and be able to participate in the rest of your life. But what are the things that motivate you? What are the things that you wake up in the morning and it makes you just go?
Mm. I have a role where I if I have to get something done, something like real and deadline oriented, I wake up super early before anybody else is up and I go get away from the house. I go away and I grab a coffee and I put on my tunes and so that's a big I think having a routine and finding out the best time of day that you work has been super helpful. And I used to swear up and down I was a night owl just because my husband's a night owl and I'm not. I fall asleep at like 9 o'clock. This is like way past my bedtime, you guys. So yeah, find the best time. It's so true. Find the best time of day that you work and find the best light or area of your home. And even though it's not the office, I used to work best in my dining room in LA. So I think it's about finding what fits for you, and then the motivation sort of gathers momentum from there. Music is super helpful. Coffee, caffeine's a great drug. Um, yeah, I think any of those will work really well.
I'm kind of curious about the transition that you had to go through. What are some of the sort of design principles that you took from your time as an art director into what you look for and translate to and create in your renovation project as far as visuals, graphics, 3D, environment, that kind of stuff?
Mm. This is where the reason I'm not a good art director comes in, and that's because I love branding, but I am all over the place when it comes to my own aesthetic. I could tell you that I like this person's artwork. Um, it probably wouldn't fit in my home, but I would buy it anyway because I don't really care. So my home design for me personally is so super eclectic that I don't know that anyone would want to see ever. So I kind of laugh at the whole HGTV project because when it's finished, it's going to look like, I'm afraid it's going to look crazy. But yeah, I think it just depends on what you love, and I sort of I have days where I go back and forth, but right now I'm leaning to the whole, if you love it in a room, then it works. If you love every single piece in your room, then go for it and do whatever you want to. Makes me a horrible art director, but it makes me a really happy homeowner. You know, I look around and I'm surrounded by things that I really like.
I have to mention really quick. We have sort of a new intern slash helper slash everything guy. He's going to be editing some video for us. He's in the chat room. His name is James Gray, and he's helping us do the chat. I don't know if I can turn this around really quick, but I'm going to show you on camera. Everybody say hi to James. Hi,
Hi,
James.
James.
He's going to help this train keep running that we call DesignChat every week because it is a crazy schedule. And really super glad to have him on. By the way, he's looking for a job. We are going to help him promote himself and get his name out there because that is what we do at DesignChat. We help the design community and sort of unite. And on that note, um, something that I can relate to and sort of absorb from the work that I've seen of yours is that a lot of your posts seem inspirational, right? You find something that you gravitate towards or have interest in, and then you put it out there for everybody else to absorb. How do you find those things? Is it happenstance? Do you go out looking specifically for something? What is that occurrence?
um, you know, I keep a very long list of bookmarks. But oftentimes I don't even visit those bookmarks. You know, you'll land on one link from a blogger that you love, and then it takes you to another link. And then I always find that I locate the best work from the friend links on other people's pages, and not necessarily a blog roll, but you know, if you go to an artist's page, you'll see a list of resources or links or friends or whatever, and it just opens you into a whole new community, and that's what I love about the internet. So it is very happenstance for me. It's very I try to be strategic about it, but then you know it's Sunday night and I need a post for Monday, and it takes a half hour of perusing the web to find something that I love. And that's kind of a long time, but it's so enjoyable too because you're stumbling on all these other things. And
Mm-hmm.
I do love that you said inspirational, because I think that's my goal with what I do is I don't want to tell people what to like or why they should like it. I just want to throw it out there and let people talk amongst themselves.
Mm-hmm. Um, Speaking about talking amongst ourselves, I'm going to start taking some questions.
Yay.
We've got three sitting there already. Guys in the chat room, please ask questions. Please, please, please be part of the conversation. That's why you're here. So the first one tonight is going to be coming from Micah Smith, perhaps, depending on how you pronounce it. Asks, What do you think are the best ways to jumpstart an online art/design based business?
Good question. Um, okay, so I have I have a lot of rules for this, but it sort of depends on what you're going for. But if it's kind of a shop or like a place where you want to sell your wares online, you have to take really great photos. Um, Hire that part out if you need to, or take some training, take a local class. There's a ton of tutorials on the web about building a light box. Um, Work on your photography. If you're planning on selling anything. If not, um, I think the second thing is start to put yourself out there. Start to email your favorite artists or designers that are already out there, and say, "Hey, I love your work. I wanted to introduce myself because I like what you're doing, and maybe you like what I'm doing, or whatever." I cannot stress enough that a simple email is just so heartening to receive in the morning. And I know bloggers are always complaining about how they get too much email, but it's maybe it's true for them, but that's my favorite part of my job. I love reader emails and I love meeting other people, and I think that's why the internet is so cool. So introduce yourself to other people. And thirdly, the best advice that I've ever received, ever, was never, well, always ask for what you want. Just never let yourself, never let your head go into that place where you don't think that you're good enough for a spot in this shop, or you don't think you're great enough for an interview or whatever. Introduce yourself and say hi, and ask for what you want. I mean, I've never been steered wrong in the direction when taking that advice.
You tap into something there about having the courage. I love saying that word, courage, to put yourself out there in front of someone and show your work and reach out. And I have to agree very strongly on that point about reaching out, because that was a hurdle that I personally had to overcome in doing this show. Prior to doing the show, I had been to almost zero design conferences. I had just talked to zero design celebrities. I had done zero interviews. And how it began to take momentum was finding an email address and shooting out a quick message, right? Um, People put their email addresses on everything. It's on their business cards. It's on the end of their emails. It's on their blogs and websites, their personal sites, portfolios, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. It's not hard to connect with people today. It is the easiest that it's ever been. Essentially, there's a yellow book pages in every interface that we use. So why not make use of it, right? The second part of that is overcoming the fear. Getting over what will they think about me? What if they don't like what I do? Um, there are assholes out there. I'm just going to say there are total jerks out there, but not that many. Once you really start reaching out, you're going to be surprised about how many people are genuinely nice. And that's the experience that I've had. 99% of the email that I send out as a request to get someone on the show has been returned with a very cordial, nice response. Um, People aren't that. It's not what the media will have you believe, that everybody out there is crazy. You're going to be attacked. Don't leave your house. Don't talk to your neighbor. You're going to get abducted. Abduzito. Reach out, really. I mean, once you get over that, it's an enlightening feeling, and I'm sure you've experienced some of that yourself.
Totally, totally. I think people are nice. I really do. And you're right. There's the 1% of the a-holes, but um I've never come across someone that, if they don't want to respond, they just won't email back. It's not like you're going to totally piss somebody off, but am I allowed to say piss on here? Okay.
You can say
Um
whatever your heart desires. During the
okay.
live show, we do not bleep people, we do not censor them. However, during the
Okay.
podcast, Mr. James Gray has learned today that he will have to enter a couple bleeps, and that's okay.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Yeah, so I think people are just so nice. I do. And that is the number one rule of networking is you have to believe in people. You have to believe that they have good intentions and that they want to help you. And if they don't, then whatever. You move on to the next person that you might like and that might like you back.
We're going to take another text question real quick. This one is from Theory Hurt. I hope I'm pronouncing that one correct. Who asks, to which extent do you think some design knowledge would benefit people who are in 3D animation?
This is a super techie question, and I have to tell you, we were just setting this up about a half hour ago, and I had to call in my husband because I didn't know how to plug myself into the internet without using wireless. So,
Did you try doing it into your phone?
no, stop. So, I'm going to go with yes, it would very much benefit you, but I kind of think that design benefits everybody. I think that it design and aesthetic and everything it benefits your outlook and product placement and pretty things, and I don't know, I just think it kind of makes the world better, and that comes from a total design junkie, but yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not good at answering this question. You know what? If you email me, I'll find the person that knows more about 3D animation because I have a friend that does. So email that question to me and I'll find an answer for you.
How very generous. See, people are nice. Erin is very nice. Oh, I thought we had a video question, but it's just disappeared. And that video question was coming from 5 Hours of Power, James White. Buddy, re-ask the question. Get back on there. Ask video questions, people, please. So let's digress for a second. We touched on it a little bit. One of your projects that you have going on right now is what you're calling the house that DFM built. And DFM meaning Design for Mankind, your blog. So you've moved, you've found a house that you said is not so good, and you are rehabbing it, and you are documenting it. That eventually this is a relationship that you have with HGTV, I believe, right?
Yes.
And tell us about that project, how it came together, and what your major goals are for it.
The funny thing is it came together because I asked. I pitched them and I knew that I was doing this house and that it was going to be really fun and we were going to do it for about a year and I pitched it and I said, hey, do you guys want to have a blog and a blogger write for you? I'm familiar with blogging. I love it. I write for all these other places. Do you want to have me on board? And they're like, yes. And then within 5-6 days, I was their newest blogger, and it doesn't happen that easily in a lot of situations, but but it did in this one, and that's why I always tell people to ask and pitch and talk and whatever. But anyway, getting back to your question, I think the goal is just to encourage. Well, I have a couple goals. One is I'm from the Midwest originally. And I think it's the coolest place in the world. I love the Midwest. And I lived in LA for 5-6 years, so I know what the LA people think about us Midwesterners. And I don't think it's the. And you're in Chicago, right, Ryan?
The LA people. Right. Yeah, we're just outside of Chicago.
You know.
And I'm very curious now because I've had guests on this show from LA, and frankly, I'm concerned.
I just know quite a few people that live there that think that Indiana is full of cornfields, which it sort of is. But there's also some really cute people here, and some of us are a little southern and whatever. But I like that I can kind of proclaim that okay, the Midwesterners aren't. We're not stupid, and we're way fun. And we have really great design outlooks too. You don't just find design in the East Coast and the West Coast. Design's everywhere. And so that's sort of one of my, I guess, secret goals that I haven't really told anybody. It's more of a personal quest to get other people to love the Midwest. So then maybe they'll move here and I can have friends.
Are you saying you don't have friends in the Midwest?
I don't. I just moved like a year and a half ago, and I don't know where I'm supposed to find people, and I haven't met anybody that really knows what a blog is here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So I'm working on that. I
Well,
am.
I, I want to believe that that's changing, right? I want to believe that
Mm-hmm.
because of the internet and experiences like this, many more people are reaching out and coming out of their houses, going to tweet ups, and once they get over some of their fears of reaching out, they can participate in events like this. And well, the you can do events like this from your home, and you don't have to come out of your house. That's true. I know. I'm making an argument in my head, but it extends, right? Extends past that. And I think it's very true what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Design does exist in more places than just metropolitan areas. We're finding, and that's something we preach on the show, and that's why we want to have so many guests on. When I first decided to do this, I was looking out at other groups who are doing design shows. Debbie Millman, of course, she's been a guest on the show. She does a very successful design podcast, and she would do it weekly for a month or 2 months, and then it would die off. But really, I think there is so much space in this arena because of undiscovered talent. Not everybody enters themselves into design contests. Not everyone has a design blog that shows the amazing things that they're thinking, saying, and doing. So I think the more we have experiences like this, we're going to find people who are in the Midwest, who are in the West, who are in the North, who are in the South, who are all doing amazing work. And it just doesn't get seen because there haven't been easy ways to share it until now. So I really would encourage
Mm-hmm.
everybody to participate in the design community online, in any digital experience like this, even internet on your phone. There are opportunities. Uh, so jump in. And speaking of, let's take another question from the audience. We're going to talk to Khalil Starr, who asks, if you're a freelance, if you're a freelance designer, do you think it's a good idea to have detailed proposals to try to get jobs? Not sure if I read that correctly, but are you picking up on that one?
I think I know. I think I okay. I think you're asking it. Do you need sort of a in order to pitch a project? Do you need a proposal? I think that's what you're asking, or maybe you mean resume. Either way, I'll just give you kind of my insight to getting jobs because I have a lot of them. I collect them for fun. So here's the deal. First, I would send an email saying, "Hey, I love your company. I've heard of you, and I was first introduced to your company through so and so, or when, or whatever. Say something personal about the company, and then you just sort of wait. You just want to establish a communication or the relationship or whatever. If they email back, then whatever. Don't worry about it. Or if they don't email back, then don't worry about it. If they do email back, then you're sort of starting a conversation, and you can say, "Hey, do you guys have any job openings? I would love to be considered. I'd love to send you my work. Let me know, whatever." And then you sort of open the door to, "Yeah, we have jobs, and I'd love to see your work." Or, "No, you know what? We don't hire. We only hire internally, and we don't accept freelancers." So either way, you're getting some information out of the deal. Um, and that's kind of how I would go about it, and then sort of see where it goes from there. Um, I don't know if that answers your question. If it doesn't, you can email me too. I love getting emails. You guys can all email me. I love email.
And what is your email address, Erin?
Erin at mankind.com. So there you go.
There, there you go, people. And it should be popping up in the chat room momentarily. Um, so I've been watching the Twitter feed on the side here. A couple of things. I'm also noticing we have 37 participants, people who are signed in the chat, but then there's 53 spectators, which means you haven't signed in and you can ask a question. So please use your Twitter account to sign in, create a vocal account in a couple minutes. It's very easy. And come in and ask a video question or a text question. Please, please, please. Um, so what I was saying is that on the left side of the chat, you can see the Twitter feed is going. One of those people who are not signed in is communicating very well in Twitter and asking questions. And that person is Melissa Robson, and she wants to know, Erin, what top 5 magazines, books, or websites do you go to the most for inspiration?
Oh, good question. I I don't read a lot of blogs, other than to kind of support them and just I sort of just scan through them really quickly if I know the person, just to make sure that they didn't get hit by a car or their dog died or whatever. I just like to keep up with them, but I don't necessarily keep up with them if that makes sense. Um, I love magazines and I love books. So magazines, I guess for inspiration. I love ID. It's I think been since killed. No longer with us. But I loved
Right.
it was International Design. I loved that magazine. I do like Print magazine. I love How magazine for creatives. I like Wallpaper. Um, Oh gosh, there are so many. Books, I love anything that Sloane Crosley writes. She's not anywhere near design. She just writes really funny things about her life and memoirs, and I think that's really cool. I get inspired by really random stuff. So it doesn't necessarily all have to be design related. Um, yeah, other than, I love Stephen Heller. I saw you had Stephen Heller on the show. What a
Yep.
cutie! What a cutie! I like anything that he writes as well.
Yeah, if you guys aren't familiar, look up Stephen Heller. He's one of the most prolific design writers in the US.
Mm-hmm.
He's also completely addicted to creating and writing for design. In the world of design, he teaches. He's amazing. Um, if you've ever read any book on design, either was by him or the foreword was by him. He blogs like crazy. He told me he wakes up at like 4:30 in the morning, and the first thing he does when he wakes up before he has breakfast or anything is he enters in a blog uh, post, and it's just insane. Like he's doing that. Think about like think about your life, right? Think about how you're motivated and the things that you do. That guy is up at 4:30 posting about design every day. Like if you want to work, man, you want to be good, you got to hustle. You got to be like Steven Heller, and you got to eat, breathe, and live this stuff because there are people out there who are doing it every day at amazing levels. Um, so I saw Fabio jumped into the chat. Fabio Sasso from Abdizito also did 5 hours of power today. What is up? Um, glad to have you here, dude. Get on video. James is having a problem with video, so you got to show up and show him off. So let's take another text question from Kendall Walker, a design chatter extraordinaire. She's here all the time. She's awesome and asks great questions. She wants to know, blogging, do you find it's better to have a niche blog or be a bit more broad?
That is a great question. Um, okay, for me personally, niche has worked really well for me. But here's the thing: if you have a really great voice to fall back on, you can write about whatever you want to. So I've seen it work really well both ways. Keep it broad if you have that super um, unique voice that you haven't read a lot, or keep it niche based as far as content goes. If you don't necessarily have that powerhouse voice to fall back on, which is fine because not everybody has that. I certainly don't have that.
Um, the guests are blowing up. There's like 95 people here. This is a lot of people. I'm very excited. Welcome to Design Chat if you've never been here before. And let me put. Sorry, this microphone is getting in my way, and it's very difficult to navigate. So you'll see me be awkward and funny tonight. Probably knock something over. Hopefully, I won't knock over my beer. Erin, you said you were drinking some wine tonight. What do you got? I didn't see the
I already,
glass.
I already had, I already had my wine for the night.
Oh, you already chugged it, huh? Before the
I
show,
told
little
you I go
chat
to bed
jitters.
early. Yes, yes.
Okay. We'll get you next time then. I'm seeing there's a video question up there. I think we're going to grab that really quick. We've only got 20 minutes left in the chat. This is flying. Erin, I told you, once we get going, it's just going to run. So let's keep on going. Let's press on here. We're going to take a question from Dan Shapiro. Mr. Dan Shapiro, also an amazing, dedicated here all the time.
Hi.
Dan, what do you want to ask?
So, as designers, we have a social responsibility. How do you think this, not new, but this territory can be expanded? There are lots of ways now. We have all this technology. What do you think we can do additionally as designers to really promote, our social identity and how we can help?
Okay. So do you mean social responsibility as far as environment, or do you mean like
I
political?
mean,
What
that's a
kind
good
of
place to start.
Okay. Wow. That's a heavy hitter question. Okay.
Thanks for your question,
Here's the
Dan.
thing. Here's the thing. I think I totally love social responsibility. I think everyone should be, super in tune with what they believe in. So, with that said, I think you have to find the one thing that you're passionate about and you have to run with that, because I think taking measures just for the sake of political correctness or social responsibility or environment or politics or whatever, I think that's where it gets really dangerous and you get a lot of gray areas that don't necessarily need to be there. So, with that said, find find focus on the one thing that you can do really well, that you're really passionate about and you love or you hate, and run with that. And I wouldn't try to juggle too many of that or really even think about too much of that. It's probably really bad advice. And if I was a product designer, I would speak differently. But I don't really know the ins and outs of product design. Again, you may email me if you want a name of a product designer that I love, because I can
Erin,
give
you're
that
gonna
too.
get so many emails after this show.
I really like helping. So, and I know that I don't have all the answers or a lot of them. So, yes, you may email me.
Next text question coming from James White, who unfortunately could not get his video to work. It's okay, James, we forgive you. Who wants to know, what was the biggest obstacle you needed to overcome in order to become an independent blogger?
I think, to be honest, that's a really good question. It was myself. I think I needed to get over the fact that I'm not trained in design and I'm not trained in art. Um, and I went to college for something totally different. And I think for a while, because of how I came into blogging and because it was so accidental, I think I held myself back for a really long time, in thinking that I wasn't really good enough to do this for a living. So, um, yeah, my only advice, I mean, a takeaway for you would be just totally don't listen to yourself. I mean, if you're over analytical and if you think about all that stuff, maybe just drink a coffee and get over it or something. Because, man, I'm sure you're all awesome. I just know that you are. And I'm a lot more awesome than I think I thought or really even think or give myself credit for. So, um, totally biggest obstacle was myself.
You are awesome, Erin. I believe in you.
Ah, thank you. You're awesome too.
um, Speaking of awesome, we have 15 minutes of awesomeness left. Please log into the chat, ask some video questions. Michael Osterman is asking, what are basic techniques to promote a completely new blog and let people know that it's there?
Um, okay, Twitter's huge. I love Twitter so much and would be lost
What's
without it.
Twitter?
So shut up. Really? You're kidding. Okay, you're kidding. So yes, sign up for Twitter right now. Midwesterners are also very gullible, so or at least I am. So yes, Twitter, and then I think it always helps to kind of immerse yourself for the first few months. If you haven't done your research, immerse yourself in that culture or that niche or however you want to say it, of the blog that you are considering, launching, or if you've already launched. Really immerse yourself in that community and find out what people are talking about. And sorry, I just saw a Twitter or a chat from Design Milk. Hi, Jamie, I love you. That Erin wants to marry Twitter, and that is true. I would marry Twitter in a heartbeat. Um, so yes, get to know your community, and that's going to help the most. You have to find out what people are talking about, and then you have to join that conversation in the most non-spammy way possible. Um, And that's totally doable. You know, just be yourself and be a person and not a bot. And comment on other people's blogs, send an email, all of the networking things that we've been talking about. Do all of those, and you will be totally fine. And then I guess just give yourself some time, because not every blog is an overnight success. A lot of them are not. I think a lot of people, it's a good 2 to 4 years in the making. So give yourself some time and be yourself and have fun with it.
Erin, I gotta say, you have the cutest headphones that we have had thus
I
far on
do.
Design Chat. And if I remember correctly, this is episode 55 or 56 or maybe more than that. I don't
Oh,
know. 60. We're over 60 actually. And you win the contest for best headphones.
thank you. They're urban ears. I'm not paid to say that, but yes, they are fantastic, and I can't hear anything out of this. They're amazing.
So if something really bizarre happened behind you, a cat flying across the screen, uh, a
I wouldn't
naked
know.
guy walking across like we saw before,
That
you
already
wouldn't know.
happened. That's right.
It
That's right.
did. It happened off air. So there's no wardrobe malfunctions tonight. But I just want to let you people know there was some nakedness going on at Aaron's house over there. I don't know what the deal is, but I signed on and I saw a lot of skin on that screen. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
my my husband likes to walk around with no shirt, and I don't wear pants, so really we're a horrible combo.
saying. Perfect couple. Perfect. On that note, let's talk about design. That's a great sense of balance. Uh, Next question comes from Colin Oakes, who wants to know, what advice do you have for someone who is just starting to blog? Quickly becoming blog
um,
chat, which is a great
yes,
hashtag Twitter chat if you guys want to look it up.
yes, it is. I just did that on Sunday. Yeah, it. Think really hard about what you want to blog about and have a focus before you just jump into it. And I think that's the number one thing that I can say. It's a big decision. You can't change your name. You can't change your title. You can change your topic, but it's hard once you really get rolling. So think about it and focus and find something that you don't mind talking about day in, day out, every day, every year until you get famous or whatever comes next.
So when is one famous, Aaron?
Oh gosh. I It's all relative. I don't even know the answer to that question. I don't know that really anyone's famous. I think everybody's crazy.
Is internet famous? Like we are definitely seeing. They talk about the 15 minutes of fame and all that. We're definitely seeing a new sort of level in that, and especially in niche industries. You can look at the design industry. There were already design superstars, if you will, but now that everybody has the ability to broadcast, we're seeing a new level of that. How much of that have you experienced? Because you do get crazy traffic. People do email you. What is that? I mean, are people recognizing you on the streets of Indiana? Were they on LA? I mean, like how are you feeling that sort of interaction?
That's funny. I think internet famous is the internet is not reality. So it's not like if you're internet
Yes, it
famous,
is.
you necessarily. um,
I believe everything
yeah.
I see on the internet and things that I tweet.
Um, so no, no one recognizes me on the street. My grandmother doesn't even really know what I do. So, um, yeah, internet fame, not real, not anything really. But I don't know. It's you do get really crazy emails, and I do get people sometimes that I think they know me more than they do. And I am a fairly open person, but it always does weird me out when for example, I didn't post one day because there was a problem with my server. And my husband, I told this story at a conference I spoke in January. My husband's work phone rang with one of my readers asking if everything was okay at home, if Erin was okay. I have no idea how
Weird,
they got my husband's work phone. I don't really know how they
weird, weird, weird.
knew my husband existed. It was all very weird. So, that's always odd when that happens and makes you feel a little bit more famous than you really are, but you're not. No one's famous. in internet land.
Well, I disagree. Nick Campbell, who's about to ask a video question, he's hi, Nick Campbell.
Wow. Hey, thanks, buddy. Hi, Ryan. How's everything
Hi.
going? Looking good here, buddy. Hey, nice to
Things are
meet you.
looking, yeah, things are looking real good, Nick, and especially because of the 5 hours of power, which was insane, and I watched every little
What
bit
a
of it that I
day.
could while I was at work without being caught. I'm sure a lot of people who are watching 500 watching each one of those shows. You guys killed it. I'm very proud of the
That
design
was fun,
community
man.
today. Tell us about your experience today.
Today was a blast. Starting off was the second. I was the second hour of the 5 hours of power today, and you're cleaning it up tonight really well. Everything's going uh, pretty swimmingly today. We had some good questions. It seems like you're having some good questions. A good guest, so you're rocking the guest
Totally.
stuff, and so yeah, it's going really well.
So speaking
Oh, I
of
have a.
guests,
I'm actually at the pub. I have to order a new beer.
Sorry, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, give me a minute. I'll have a. I'll tell you right now, Ryan, what I'm ordering. I'm gonna get a daisy cutter.
Okay, cool. I got it.
Thank you.
Okay.
this is the
Sorry
first on
about that.
Design Chat. I am so happy that just happened. It looks like you're sitting outside at a pub broadcasting wirelessly from where the hell are you?
I'm in Logan Square at a place called Dunley's. It's right by my house, and I come here and answer all my email, which is actually part of my question, which is, how do you handle? It sounds like you're asking for a lot of email and stuff, and a question. You could wait to answer it till I'm gone, but how do you handle email? What's your theory on getting all this email done? Because what I do is I show up and order a couple beers and plug at it every night, and it's hard to keep up with. So that's my question actually.
Good one. I love your glasses. Sorry.
Hey, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll answer whenever you're ready, Ryan.
Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, yeah, go ahead. Let's do this.
Okay, so Gmail, you have it? I'm assuming. Gmail's amazing. Um, I like to label everything depending on what section of my life it is or what blog it's for, and then here's the thing: if I get an email and I know the answer to it right away, I force myself to respond right then and there. Otherwise, it's just a massive amount of chaos later on. So another rule is if it takes 30 seconds or less to respond, I'm going to do it right then. If it takes like 2 minutes or more, I save it and I usually mark it as unread, and then I'll get back to it in 2 days. I put it on my to-do list, and then I go from there. I love lists, so email is not hard for me because plus I love that part. I love the connection of the people and all of that. So does that help at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's such something I've been struggling with lately. Just making sure I answer everything, and things fall a few days behind because I have other projects, and I want to keep up and answer everything. It's just, I think you're right. It's about marking everything and just coming back to it sooner than later. So yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Nick, thanks for
And are
coming
you in
on and asking a
Chicago?
video. He is
Sorry.
also in Chicago. Yeah.
Okay, then come
Yeah,
to Indiana and I'll
yeah.
do your email for you.
Oh wow.
That's a
Okay,
first.
that sounds great. Then I could just actually just go get a beer without my
You
laptop.
drink? Yes.
Problem solved, right? Problem solved. Nick, thank you
Thank you
so
very
much for
much.
coming on. Congrats on all your success with what you're doing with your show and Grayscale Gorilla. It's amazing, man. I'm so stoked for all the projects you were involved in. So I hope all your success continues. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, thanks for having me, Ryan. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Nick is a cool, cool dude. If you guys aren't familiar, look up creamyorange.com. That's where he does his 3D animation. That's his portfolio. And Grayscale Gorilla, he does awesome stuff. He does tutorials. He's written iPhone apps. If you look at your iPhone right now, do you have an application called Shake It Photo where it takes Polaroids and makes amazing photos? Yeah, that's him. He did that. He's rad. So look him up. We're running out of some time here. We've only got a few questions left. We'll get to them in a couple seconds. Um, Erin, this is going awesome. I'm so glad that you came on. Let's crank out these last few questions and wrap it up. What do you say?
Okay.
Cool. Next question coming from Lance Bell. Who, because everyone has access to a YouTube tutorial, what can I do to stand out from the rest?
Um, Good question. Okay, so depending on what kind of tutorial it is, I think that there's always going to, it's not about the tutorial itself, it's about the outlet that's promoting the tutorial. So you're going to want to focus pretty heavily on where you're sending it and who's going to be affiliated with it, and really get some heavy hitters backing your tutorial, and that's going to help tremendously. Always good graphics are great. Great video quality is always nice, but other than that, it has to do with the affiliation and the promotion.
Um, the thank yous real quick. Get both videos on screen. Thank you to Symbolic, formerly known as Samada Mason, for letting us broadcast from their agency in West Dundee. Please look them up, symbolic.com, SMBOLIC. They put on the CUSP conference every year, which is happening 3 weeks from now or so, on a Wednesday and Thursday. And we broadcast there from last year. We were very lucky to do that, and we didn't screw it up, and they asked us to come back again. It's amazing. So in 3 weeks from now, we're going to be broadcasting with speakers from CUSP Conference, cuspconference.com. On Twitter, they are at CUSP Conference. That's easy, right? Look them up, CUSP Conference. Can I say it again? CUSP Conference. So thank you to them. You guys, they're amazing. They really support the design community. And speaking of design community, I got to think of better transition than am thinking of. I'll get there, guys. I'm working on it. Macy Brown wants to know, how did you get the traffic you need for your blog? So did you pay somebody and like all of a sudden just internet traffic showed up, or like did you have to put racy photos up there, or like how does that work?
No, I think it has to do with having original content. Content's everything. Getting to know your readers. You know, if you have a personal relationship with them, then I think they sort of have something invested in you personally and in your blog. So I think they love coming back as well. Other than that, it's slow going, so you have to really hang in there and work hard um, and try and invest time into social media and social networking, and just have fun and just chat. And if you don't get the numbers that you want, take it easy on yourself. You know, it's hard.
Gonna fly through these last couple ones here. I'm really excited to take this question from Renee Reiskamp, who is a freelancer who worked with me on a big project a few months ago and comes in from time to time. She's a very nice lady who wants to know how much of your personal life seeps into your blogs, or is it something that you try to keep separate?
Great question. I try to keep that very separate. I don't show a lot of personal photos on my blog or even talk about a lot of personal things. I do like to put my personal thoughts and spins on things, but I like to keep it separate. My HGTV work is obviously very heavily involved in my personal life, so but it has to be, because it's a renovation. So I write about that there, and then everything else is. I try and just keep it as I just write about design and very little else.
Thank you, Renee, for your question. We're taking this is the last question of the night. Bonnie Glendening wants to know, Erin, do you have certain criteria for your design posts?
Hi, Bonnie. Bonnie's an e-friend of mine. You know what? I don't. It can be anything as long as it makes me look twice or triggers some kind of emotional reaction, or if something is engaging to me, then I'll post it. And I post some really crazy stuff, so there's really not any criteria other than do I love it.
That is a fantastic criteria, because if you love it, Erin, many other people will. And we love you for coming on, and we love your headphones, and we love your commentary. We will be reading your lovely blogs from here on out, which are designformankind.com and they can find you on HGTV if they do a search, I'm sure. And on Twitter, you are
Erin Loechner.
Erin Loechner. Everybody, look her up. She's amazing. She's going to be sharing very cool things in the future, which is what we're all about here at Design Chat. We're all about the design community. Thank you guys for coming out. Great questions.
Thank you.
Great people in the chat room. Great commentary. So glad to be part of the 5 hours of power today. I hope it happens again in the very near future. I know that we will be on next week. Every Wednesday we come on 8 p.m. We're going to be talking to the ladies at Quite Strong, a design group out of Chicago. Yeah, I believe it's 5 ladies who just kind of launched their group. It's called Quite Strong on Twitter, quite_strong. Look them up. Very inspirational, very cool thing. Thank you, everybody, for participating tonight. We will see you next week and every week. Follow us on Twitter at DesignChat. That's enough plugging for tonight. Erin, you rocked it. We love you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.